Snow had arrived on the Fat Controller's railway. It covered everything from top to bottom and made life very difficult. Most of the engines hated snow, particularly Gordon.
"It's disgraceful," he grumbled to the others one night. "How can a big engine work with all this snow about, eh?"
"Engines that don't complain," said Edward cheekily. "Besides, the snow will be gone by March. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to collect some coal tracks."
"Ah, Gordon, just the engine I wanted to see." "Here we go. It's come to my attention that Henry has too many jobs to do, so I've decided to have the other bigger engines to take turns on the flying Kipper. And you, Gordon, are to start pulling it tonight." Gordon was horrified. "The flying Kipper? But, sir, I've got a night express to take." "Not any more you don't," said James. "I'm to take over while you deal with the smelly vans." But nothing, Gordon. I've already made up my mind. Now off you go." "Oh, all right, sir," muttered Gordon, and slowly puffed out of the sheds to the docks. Salty was arranging the vans when Gordon pulled in. "Ahoy there, Captain. It's surprising to see you here." "I was forced into it, Salty." Well, matey, you'd better get a move on. This fish is not going to deliver itself. Yar!
Gordon just sighed meekly. He backed down onto the train as the workmen loaded the last boxes into the vans.
"Now make sure to be careful, Captain," Salty called. "We don't want any tail lamps shaking off the train now."
Gordon gave a small chuckle. He remembered when Spencer pulled the Kipper too fast and made the tail lamp fall off. Just then the last door banged and the guard showed his green lamp. With a roar, Gordon pulled out of the docks, slipping furiously while starting. Gordon sped along the main line, with the vans clattering behind him. "Steady, Gordon," called his driver. "We don't want to go too fast."
"You might want to slow down and have the smell hanging in the air, but I don't. I want it over and done with."
"I understand that, but if you carry on like this, you'll get into trouble." And he did. Gordon slipped on the rails violently, making the train bump and shake around until the last few vans came undone from the others. They were left behind. Gordon felt the jerk, but he didn't take any notice. He soon arrived at Marin Station, where the workmen were waiting. As they walked down the platform, they looked in disbelief. "Driver," said one, "where's the rest of the vans?" "What? Oh my days, where have they gone?" Meanwhile, Edward was returning home. "I can't wait to have a nice rest in the sheds." "Hello, what's that? My word, it's some fish vans. They must have broken away."
"Well, we can't leave them out here," replied his driver. "They might cause an accident."
So Edward buffered up and pushed them down the line. "They were there," said Gordon's driver. "I'm sure of it. Maybe they were magical." "Don't be daft. Vans don't magically or randomly disappear."
"I felt a jolt, but thought nothing of it."
"I believe these belong to you, Gordon," smiled Edward. "I found them further down." Gordon was surprised.
"They must have broken off while my wheels slipped on the rails," said Gordon. "I'm sorry, driver. I should have listened to you about speeding."
"You can say that again," laughed his driver. "That's all right, Gordon. Now we better get going. We don't want to delay the train any further."
"Yes, you're right. Thank you, Edward," whistled Gordon.
"You're welcome, Gordon." After that incident, Gordon was careful as he puffed along and made sure his driver used his sandboxes for when the track was slippery. He delivered all the fish and returned to the docks to drop off the vans. As he did so, the Fat Controller was there.
"Well, Gordon, I've heard all about what's happened, And while I'm not too pleased with your ways of pulling the kipper, I am happy that you've learned your lesson about speeding on slippery rails. Yes, sir, of course, sir, replied Gordon. I promise never to do that again. That's a good engine, smiled the Fat Controller. Now I've got to go. I have an important meeting to attend.
When Gordon came to the sheds, the other engines heard the story from Edward.
Fancy leaving the vans behind, James chuckled. Anybody would think you haven't pulled a train like that before.
It's a good thing the Fat Controller wasn't there. He might have had some leftover kippers for tea. And everyone laughed, while Gordon disappeared in a cloud of steam.